Those were the headlines that we're tracking for you this evening. But on What's Brewing today, Square Yards, one of India's fastest growing real estate platforms, has just raised $35 million, pushing its valuation close to $900 million and fueling talk of a unicorn status soon. With FY25 revenue at 1,410 crore rupees and a trailing 12-month run rate hitting 1,670 crore rupees, the company is now reportedly lining up a larger $100 million fundraise ahead of a planned 2,000 crore rupee IPO in 2026. Joining me now to discuss this further is Tanuj Shori, the founder and CEO of Square Yards. Tanuj, thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. You know, you've just raised this $35 million and at a valuation of around $900 million, right? So if you could sort of take us through what you do and the key milestones that convinced investors to back this round.
Thanks, Arundhati, for having me here. So Square Yards is India's largest consumer home buying journey platform. In simple words, we help consumers search homes, transact homes, finance homes, and renovate homes. We are one of the most of the consumer, unlike most of the other consumer tech segments, we are category defining leaders in very, very large TAMs, practically no competition. The next largest player is not even 1/3 of our size. One of the few consumer names which are growing at fairly high clip, close to double-digit margins. So I will say fairly attractive story to invest in. I won't comment on the valuation. I think that's just a number through the journey. But I believe what we have built over the last decade is just a start, still a day zero, fraction of the market, and hopefully we'll look to build something meaningful over the next few years.
Look to build something meaningful over the next few years. But, you know, you're reportedly also in advanced talks to sort of raise another $100 million via a mix of equity and debt, right? Now, if that's successful, that would obviously take you beyond the unicorn threshold. How will you sort of use this capital? How will you deploy it? And what's the time you're looking at for like closing that round?
So I'm not sure if I'm allowed to answer a couple of confidential things there, but only thing I can say there is there are always growth opportunities, even though the business is now generating free cash flow. We believe there is an opportunistic growth capital need out there, along with some restructuring on the cap table. There are discussions in advanced stages. Can't comment further, but hopefully we'll be able to announce something interesting over the next quarter.
So hopefully you will be able to announce something over the next quarter. But if you could tell us how you plan to spend the funds that you've raised?
It's a combination of growth capital as well as restructuring of the cap table. I think it's still a precursor to the much larger milestone, which will be accessing public markets, I think, over the next 12 to 18 months.
All right. And, you know, given the integration of real estate brokerage, home loans, rentals, interiors, and property management, which business segments are driving growth for now? And where do you sort of see the highest margin or scale potential over the next 12 to 18 months?
And just to put numbers in perspective, we move close to 16,000 crores of real estate every year. We help originate almost 10,000 crore plus of loans every month. If you put these numbers in perspective, we would be amongst top 5, even if you compare us to the manufacturers of real estate and the credit, which is fairly sizable scale. But more importantly, we acquire almost 15,000 plus consumers every month. And a lot of these consumers keep coming back to the platform to use other services across the home buying journey. So we believe that mix will continue. Our ability to remonetize the consumer across various stages, influence their decision-making process, more importantly, help them navigate very, very complex ecosystem. As far as the segments is concerned, the business is equally divided between PropTech and FinTech. Both segments growing at fair clip, both segments profitable, moving towards double-digit margins.
Sure, moving towards double-digit margins. And, you know, with FY25 revenues at about 1,410 crore rupees, like you pointed out, EBITDA turning positive, could you sort of take us through where you hope to end this year? And what does this say about, you know, your plan to sort of gear up for an IPO? What are the key milestones you want to hit before you do that?
So, thankfully, post-COVID has been a fairly good run for us. So we have grown at a CAGR of almost 52% over the last 5 years. This year again, been a very strong year. We look to close to 2,000 crore plus revenue, which will be around 40 to 43% growth. Our growth rates should continue in the same domain over the next few years. But more importantly, we are going through a very, very strong operating leverage curve. Our EBITDA this year should jump almost 4x over last year, close to 180 crores. and should double over the next 12 months. So and nothing to do with IPO, I think, but it's just that the phase where we are in, I think over the next 2-3 years, we'll be moving towards our goal of close to 20% steady state EBITDA margin, growth continuing being 40% plus.
Sure. And when will we see you hit the lal state all on track to have an IPO by next year?
So going public is a complicated process, I think, in terms of preparation as well. Like every other entrepreneur, our dream was to take Square Yards public when we started. We have been working very, very hard behind the scenes on ramping up our compliances, corporate governance to ensure they are best in class. We understand going public is not just a capital raising event, should not just be a capital raising event. It's a massive responsibility you owe to public shareholders in terms of trust, transparency, and very, very high performance and governance standards. We believe we are fairly better prepared in all these aspects now. As I mentioned earlier, going through a very, very important, interesting mix of high growth and improving margins. And we would love for larger public shareholders to participate in our growth story, value accretion story. Hopefully, with the TAMs we play, with large TAMs we play, growth we continue to deliver. I believe, I hope, public markets will affirm and value our ability to. Basically, we are the only asset light play to the very, very large urbanization housing story in India.
Sure. All right, Tanuj. Thank you so much for taking time out and being here with us on Startup Street. We wish you all the best on this journey going forward.
Thank you, Arundhati. Take care.